Welcome back to the Mulberry Book Drop. Hi, Sarah.
What are...
February 2023. 2024.
Yeah.
Whoa.
2023. Who are you?
I don't even know.
That was a year ago.
It was so long ago. That's crazy. How's your year been so far?
It's been good. January was extremely long. I don't know if that was just me or everybody else, but oh my gravy. It was so incredibly long.
See, and I feel like it's going by very fast.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I did have a birthday in January.
True.
So, and then I know I have a lot of friends and family that also have birthdays in January. So maybe that's why it felt like it was long, because I felt like we were just constantly celebrating, which is great. But I'm also like, okay, I'm tired. But how about you?
You need a nap.
Yeah.
It's been great. I feel like it's been going by very, very quickly.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We had some big things happen, but like we had to take our son back to school and some of that kind of stuff, and but I don't know. It's been a good year so far, though.
Woo-hoo.
I'm enjoying it, and that's what matters.
Is this your year? Is it New Year, New You? Just
they're
kidding.
all my year.
Period.
I accept. I accept this challenge. Well, do you have anything good you want to share?
I do. We had something extremely exciting happen within my family.
Do tell.
We got a dog.
He's so cute.
Yes, so I was with my brother and sister-in-law when they got the dog, and it was the day after my birthday, so I'm claiming him as mine, even though he's not mine. I'm saying that he was my birthday present. But he is a golden retriever and Australian shepherd mix, and we literally, like, I don't know if we were the first people to meet him, but he had just been taken there the day before.
Okay.
And apparently, it's because he was on a farm and was chasing the cows and just wanted to like play with the cows, and apparently it was causing the cows some distress.
Okay.
So he's literally perfect.
He really is.
So you got to meet him?
I did. He was at the library yesterday, and
Yeah.
I was not subtle. I was so excited to meet him.
Oh.
He's so sweet.
So sweet.
Yeah.
So, and he follows my niece around, and like at night we'll lay right outside her door. So cute.
Yeah. And he's a leaner. So if
Yes.
any of you are dog people, you know what I mean. It's like when they get as close as they can to you and then they like lean into your leg. And he was doing that to me yesterday. And I was like, oh, okay, so we're in love. Yeah. Sure.
Oh, he's so sweet.
He's a good boy.
Yeah, he is. What about you?
Well, we had one last little family adventure before we took our son back to school. So after we got back from New York, which New York was amazing, we had the best time. But I was like, we need to do one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went to the manatee viewing station, the Tico one in Apollo Beach.
Yeah.
And we hadn't been there in several years. So there's been like a bunch of updates since the last time we went. So we had a couple of our friends come, and there were so many babies. So lots of like mama manatees with their little babies next to them. So that was adorable. There were so many manatees. Like there was not a bad spot to stand. That's how many there were.
That's cool.
And then it was the first time we got to see the stingrays, because they did an addition where there's like a stingray touching station now. And so we were down there and we were talking to the girls that were like monitoring that area. And they were saying that they're actually the Tampa Bay Rays.
Oh.
Yeah, so during baseball season, they're over in the Tropicana field, like in the stingray touching station there. But then off season, they spend their time at the Tico viewing station so that they're always taken care of. So I thought that was really cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah, and then we like took the walk all the way over to, there's like a turtle rehab.
Mm-hmm.
So we walked all the way there, but then we took the golf cart ride back. Because it was a little bit further than we thought. And when we got up that morning, it was like, oh, it's so cold. And so here's all of us, like, we just got back from New York. We don't want to get sick. We're like in sweatshirts. Oh my gosh. We're walking over and we're like, everybody's just like dripping sweat, tying sweatshirts around their waist. And so we were like, yeah, we're just going to take the tram ride back. So,
Oh my
but it was a really fun day. I'm so glad we went.
Did I ever tell you about my manatee pillow?
No.
No? Okay. This is sidebar.
Okay.
When I was in 4th grade, what we were doing in class, we were sewing. Like my teacher, we were making pillows. Okay. Mm-hmm. And she's like, pick an animal or something, some kind of shape that would be kind of easy to make a pillow out of. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm like, oh, let's go. Let's make a manatee.
Yeah.
What?
Nothing like a sea cow. The shape's so simple.
You would think.
No.
You would think. It was hot pink fabric too, because we went to the store on our own, got the fabric for it and everything. And I just remember when I was done, it was a cross between a manatee and a cross. Kidding. It was horrible.
You don't still have it, or do you have a picture of it?
I don't think so. If I'll have to look it up. I don't think so. I had it for the longest time.
Okay.
But I want to say I made like 4, and they were like little tiny. A couple of them were tiny, and then there was like bigger pillows. And Bethany's looking at my hands, which is showing how big the pillow was.
It's big.
But it was so bad. It was, and that was when I realized I will never be a sewer, and I'm okay with that.
They really are kind of working their way into being like my favorite animal. For as long as I can remember, obviously, like, I'm a dog person, but like if I had to pick a favorite animal, I was always like pigs. I love pigs. I used to want one as a pet. I was never allowed to have one.
You wrote a book about some.
I did. Yep. I love pigs. But it's like the more and more I see manatees and the more I learn about them, I am starting to have that very like protective feeling about them. And I just really love them. Like they I don't know. So they're creeping their way up. I don't know. I might have to like reassess my favorite animal situation here.
But they're I don't know. They're so soothing to watch.
They really are. They really are. Like we stood there for quite a while. So yeah. But, well, I mean, your pillow story's funny.
Yeah.
Obviously.
More traumatizing, but yeah.
Traumatizing. Do you have anything funny you would like to share as well?
I do.
Okay, what you got?
I do. Okay, so speaking of being dog people, because you and I both are.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm currently house sitting for my grandma because she's out living her best life on a cruise. So can't wait to hear about those stories. But my grandma has a cat. I absolutely love this cat. And I'm not a cat person.
I was going to say, despite the fact that you and I are both allergic.
Right. Like, I will snuggle up with this cat. I don't care. Sometimes I get sick. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not a cat person. I've house sat for my friend who has a couple cats. And I've woken up in the middle of the night with a cat staring at me. It's terrifying. I'm like, okay, this cat's about to eat me. It's fine. Okay. So I've only grown up with dogs, and I'm used to when you go to sleep, dogs go to sleep, normal. Okay. Cats don't do that.
No.
Sometimes they do, but cats don't do that. So this cat, he gets the zoomies in the middle of the night. Absolutely stressful. I listen to, my app calls it brown noise. It's basically white noise at night.
Okay.
That's what I listen to when I'm sleeping. And so the other night I'm asleep. I sleep with the door closed because he drives me nuts. I love him, but he drives me nuts. So I don't want him in there. And all of a sudden, I just hear this crash at 1:30 in the morning. And I'm like, the house is being broken into. This is how I die. Mm-hmm. Okay? Immediately like, oh my gosh. Okay? So I put on my glasses and grab my phone. And I'm like, do I dial 911? Not yet. Let me check it out because there is a cat here and he's a little cray-cray. Okay? So I go out. My cousin's picture that is up on the wall is now not on the wall. It's on the floor. And I'm like, okay, if you got beef with her, just let her know. It's fine. And then the pan that I had hand washed and set up to dry was on the floor. So that's what I heard.
Okay.
Because it's like a metal pan.
Mm-hmm.
And the cat's just sitting there looking at me. And I just looked at him and I was like, get into the room now. And so now he's been sleeping with me every night. Because I'm like, we are not doing this.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah.
So do you think the pan fell and scared him and then he knocked the picture down? Or do you think he was just being crazy and he knocked both of them down?
I wouldn't be surprised if he knocked the pan down and it scared him and he hit the wall, which caused the picture to fall.
Oh.
So, because that picture hasn't been hanging there very long. My grandma just redid her picture wall.
Okay.
So, yeah. But I was like...
cats.
Yeah. I was like, you know who doesn't do that? Dogs.
Yeah.
So it's fine. And now did I show you the picture of him this morning?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Dude is like on his back in the middle of the bed, just living his best life, sleeping.
Yep.
And I was like, you're rude. So yeah, that's my traumatizing funny story. How about you?
Well, mine is book related, which I kind of had told Sarah about this the other day, but for some reason I'm still feeling very embarrassed and slightly amused by it. But by the time this drops, we will have already had film club. But for February, we're supposed to be watching Hidden Figures. And so we usually read the book, watch the movie, all that. And so I went to read the book because I'm going to film club with Sarah again. And come to find out, why does this seem so familiar? So I pretty much read like most of the prologue. thinking to myself, like, was all of this in the movie? Did they do that good of a job with both? Only to realize, wait a minute. I go into my Goodreads, I look it up, and I literally read the book over the summer. I read it in July.
Of last year, of 2023.
Of 2023.
It happens to the best of us.
I'm so horrified.
It's
So
okay.
anyway, I was one step ahead for film club, apparently. I was ready to go.
You were.
Yeah, so I don't know.
We love the commitment.
I don't know. I was so embarrassed when I came in and told you that. I was like, so I went to start Hidden Figures, and lo and behold.
To be honest, with how many books you've read, I'm surprised that hasn't happened to you more often.
I don't know.
But y'all, Bethany is like the queen at actually remembering what she's read. She had a little bit of
I had a moment.
You did. You had a moment, but that's okay. But it is wild to me, like, how much you remember. Because I'll be like, oh, I saw you read this book, like, back in 2016. What did you think about it? And, like, I say the title, and you'll be like, oh, remind me what that is again. And I'll, like, say a few words, and then you're like, bam, got it. I'm like, oh, okay.
But if I had to take a quiz on it, like, super specifics,
like
a lot
AR
of times,
test?
yeah, like, a lot of times I can't remember, like, I can remember if I enjoyed it and maybe how I felt while I was reading it. But if it was something from like 4 years ago, I might not necessarily be able to tell you like who did it. Like who, you know what I mean? Like sometimes I won't remember the super specifics about.
Well, that was me because I covered Cozy Mystery for January and I finished the book literally maybe a week and a half before the club. And then it was the day of the club, and I had to Google who did it because I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, I'm dumb.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay.
I'm like that with movies sometimes, too. Like, I'll go to rewatch something that I'm like, oh, I love this movie. And then I'm like, I don't remember this at all. You know, like I remember all these quotes from these movies, but then all of a sudden something happens, and I'm like, oh, that was this movie?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it happens.
Oh, no. Okay, so before we get into why we're here, we were going to do a couple quick city updates. So, Sarah, what do you have about the city of Mulberry? Some
exciting news. So, Depot 303, which, if you're familiar with Lakeland, it's like the joinery kind of concept. It is in full swing. They are doing construction. The city has posted some pictures and a video on Facebook that kind of shows the process that they're doing right now. So we are very, very, well, I'm going to assume you are too. I'm very excited about this coming to the city and just our city growing. And I just think it's the coolest thing. Yeah. So,
when she says full swing, she means full demolition. So don't think full swing means you can come and eat yet.
No.
I just want to clarify.
Yeah, no. Full swing means they're, swinging the whoop, whoop.
Yes.
The thingy thing. The sledgehammer.
Yeah, demolition is happening. Yeah. So exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. What about you?
I wanted to give a quick shout out to our new art installation at the Cultural Center. I don't know if everybody's aware, but we do have a cultural center in the city of Mulberry, and they do change out the artists and stuff periodically. So they have several things that happen each throughout the year. And they're usually up for like a month or two. I think the one that's there right now will be up until March 1st. And they are located at 103 East Canal Street, and they are open Tuesday through Saturday. But it's a great way to see some local artists, support local artists. A lot of the stuff that you see hanging there is actually for sale. So, if you do see something that you fall in love with, but it's pretty cool. We do try to make a habit of going over and checking out each display. Like if we can't go for the opening night or whatever, when we have to run to City Hall, we try to sneak in real quick and take a peek. And there's a lot of talented people in the area.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I would definitely say go check that out. So, all right, Sarah, do you know why we're here today?
I mean, I do. Do you?
I do, because I was the one who was thinking about this. We're here to talk about reading trackers. Yes, I am very excited about this. Sarah and I have been kind of playing around with something new this year because we had kind of been hemming and hawing about it and decided with the new year it might be something fun to try out. So the first two, I guess I should say, that I want to talk about are two that Sarah and I have personally tested. So we're going to talk about Goodreads, and we're going to talk about another one called The Story Graph. So Sarah, do you remember how long ago you signed up for Goodreads? How long have you had your Goodreads account?
I do, because I actually checked it today for this.
Okay.
August of 2016.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so not that far apart. I started in 2013.
Okay.
So only a few years before you.
I will say that I started in 2016, but didn't start really tracking until probably 2018.
Okay.
So I did have it for 2 years. And
okay.
So
cool.
yeah. And you said 2013?
Yeah. Yeah. And we do use it a lot because we use it for work. So, you know, sometimes people come in for suggestions. We actually look back at our stuff. Sometimes it's fun to see what each other is reading, what books are popular right now. But Goodreads, it's been around for a while. It was founded in 2006, but it was acquired by Amazon in 2013.
Okay, that makes sense. Because I was like, wow, 2006?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I did check my first reviews for January of 2013. They were all this author, A.J. Jacobs, and he does all these nonfiction books. And I don't think a lot of them are available in Polk County right now. We would have to look a little deeper. But he is the guy, I don't know if you're familiar, but he did the Year of Living Biblically, where he like lived by the Bible, like very, you know, no, you can't have different fabrics on the same outfit and all that kind of stuff. It was really interesting.
Yeah.
He did another one called The Know-It-All, where he read the entire Encyclopedia Britannica. It was fascinating. And then the one that my one son and I really love is called The Guinea Pig Diaries. And I think that might have been his first book. And that was one where he basically turned himself into a guinea pig. So for instance, like, instead of answering his own emails, he like outsourced his life. So he had a person like in another country that was like answering his emails for him and all. His wife is probably one of the most patient people, like, you know, because they're part memoir, but they're also part like humor writing. And so like, obviously she is also a piece of it because it's all happening around her and affecting her life as well. So it's really funny, but those were my first reviews. Yeah. Do you know how many things you have on there currently that you've reviewed? Do you know your number?
Reviewed, I want to say is like 57 because I don't write a lot of reviews. I do a lot more, ratings. And that one I want to say, because it has like a number right that has your profile. And I want to say that one is like over 500 books.
Nice.
That
that's
I have
a good number.
Either want to read or currently reading or have read. And because of you, I actually, and I think I've mentioned this on the podcast before, it's depending on the year that I've read it, is now how I have it sectioned off. Okay. And I got that from you.
Gotcha. So I have over 1,200 reviews on mine right now. Whoa. And so that was one of the things I wanted to talk about, though. That's what I like about it, is that you can create your own shelves. And so once I really got comfortable with it, there's obviously the automatic red shelf that's always on there for everybody, but then you can make your own shelf. So I have them for each year. So, you know, like right now I'm currently adding stuff to my 2024 shelf. But then I have a shelf for audiobooks. So I can tag something if I listen to it instead of physically reading it. Last year I got obsessed with debut novels. And so I made a debut shelf so that I can start tracking people's first books, you know? So that was really kind of fun. And then the other thing that I think I can speak for myself and Sarah on this one, but probably our favorite thing about Goodreads is that every year, at the end of the year, you get to vote for the Goodreads Choice Awards.
I love those.
We wait all year for this. And it's like whichever one of us notices that they're up first is like, oh my gosh, did you vote? It's so dumb, but I love it.
Yeah. Presidential elections, nah. Goodreads Choice Awards, absolutely.
And then another positive about Goodreads is you can use the app or the website. So the app is pretty easy to use, but I personally, like when I'm actually writing a review, I prefer to do it on the computer. I think it's a little easier to navigate. Yeah.
But but the app is, to me, is very user-friendly compared to other apps.
Yes, I would agree with that statement.
And I love that you can recommend books to friends and that you can have friends on there. Yeah. I do like that too. Yeah. Which is normal with the other ones too, but.
Yeah. So I was researching a little and I did notice that a common complaint is kind of the one that led Sarah and I to test the second one we're about to talk about. And that complaint is the ads. Because it was acquired by Amazon, if you ever go to accidentally to click on something and you're ever accidentally just a hair off center, all of a sudden you're on Amazon's website and they're like, hey, you want to buy this book? And you're like, no, I was actually just trying to see what my friend was reading. I didn't mean to click that. Right. And that's the thing that a lot of people have been very frustrated about, how many ads there are and some of that kind of stuff. And they do have graphs and things on there, but they're very hidden.
I didn't even know that.
Remember I showed you last year? I was like, look at this. Remember the page is red and yeah. So they're very hidden in there. So unless you know what you're looking for, you can't find them. Right. So we decided to try the Storygraph this year. The Storygraph is new. It was founded in 2019. One of the pros is it can also be used as a website or an app. I've definitely noticed I'm more comfortable on the website. I do
Same.
tend to just use that for myself right now. But the big bonus with this one is it's not trying to sell us stuff. I haven't noticed anything yet where I've accidentally almost bought a book. But there's graphs. It is so fun.
It is.
When you review a book and then you go to your stat page, there are pie charts and all this stuff talking about like your reading moods and like, you know, fast, medium, or slow paced books and what you lean toward. And then there's like a bar graph that tells you the different genres that you've been reading so far this year. So if you are a visual person like I tend to be, it is very soothing to look at. And it's really exciting every time you review a book to go to your stats and see what's it look like now.
Yeah, I feel like very accomplished.
Yes.
It's very cool.
Yeah. And the other big thing for this one, so it's something that since I started working at the library, I've been trying to add to my Goodreads reviews just to remind myself when I'm talking to other people about books. But like content warnings and trigger warnings, like that is a big thing for a lot of people. And so sometimes I have to make notes for myself because I'm, like I said earlier, I might not remember in 2 years something specific that had potentially been in this book. On the Storygraph, there's these really great drop-down boxes that you can use. So they have a specific spot for content warnings, and you can do graphic, moderate, or minor. And the options for them are everything from like abuse, addiction, that kind of stuff, to pandemics, war, like they're literally everything. There were so many options in there. I was actually quite impressed. So I thought that was really cool. And then I don't know if you've been using all of these if you've done reviews on there as much, but they also have these great drop downs for like when you're reading the book, the type of book, right? Like, was it plot driven or character driven?
Right.
Was there good character development? Were the characters likable? And my favorite thing is that when you do the little drop down box for it, there's yes, no, not applicable, and then the best one, it's complicated.
I love that one.
I've used it a few times.
Yeah, I do love the way that you can review books on here. And I have gotten to play around a lot more with it because honestly, when we first got it, I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I'm only going to use it for the whole stats part. But now that I've gotten into it, and like even the recommendations, I like how when you go in, if you want recommendations up on your home screen, you just it's not like a test. You just fill out this thing and it does what are completely off the table, you will not read. And so you just click which ones like you don't want to know things about or don't want to read about. And then all of a sudden these recommendations pop up every time that you get on there, and you can just scroll through, and there's a bunch that I don't recognize, but there's also some that I do recognize. And it's really nice.
That's cool.
I will say the app though, every time I click on the app, it wants me to re-sign in, and that is so irritating to me.
Okay.
I'm on my phone. Like, I shouldn't have to sign in every time I click on the app. But
okay.
That's why I typically don't use it on my phone.
And I've used it on the computer so much that I don't think I even noticed that on the app.
Yeah.
Okay. They do also have an option for a thing called Buddy Read, which Sarah and I decided we are going to test out. We picked the book that we're going to use for it. So once those arrive, we will test out the Buddy Read, and we'll give you guys like a little update about that. The Storygraph has become probably the most popular alternative to Goodreads right now for a lot of people who are maybe considering stepping away. And we did see they gave you an option for importing your Goodreads. Neither of us have done that yet because when we first started this, little did we know everybody was starting it. And it was so many people that poor Storygraph, like it overdid the server and it took her like days to fix everything. But I gotta give her credit. She was on her social media explaining to everybody what was going on, that they were working on it. Please be patient. And they had it working again. And she was like, I will be responding to every single DM. Please be patient with me. And she did. Like, she stuck to her word. So yeah. I was shocked.
Yeah, I'd like to think that Bethany and I made the website crash because we got it and then a bunch of other people got it, you know?
Yeah, they were like the cool people are doing it now.
Yeah, the trendsetters.
Yes. And I think our one complaint, aside from the issue about having to log in on the app, Sarah and I did notice we were looking around trying to figure out like how do you add friends on the story graph.
Yeah.
Now on Goodreads, you can do email or a person's name, and it'll usually find you, and you have to kind of scroll through a little bit, but you can usually find who you're looking for.
Yeah.
On the story graph, they only do email or the username, and most of the people on the story graph have really random usernames. So I have not figured out how to find friends on there yet. So I have 3 people.
Yeah, I only have 4, and the 4 that I do have, one of them I keep going, who is that? And then I realize, oh, I do know who this person is.
Right.
But because it goes by the username, I'm like, huh?
So the friend thing, we're still kind of working on that part, but for right now,
We don't have friends. I'm kidding.
Yeah, true. I mean, I have like 82 on Goodreads.
Right.
So for right now, we're still in a testing phase. It's only been, honestly, a few weeks since we started it. So
it's fun.
I am enjoying it. So I'm curious to see how the year will end. My plan is to keep up with it for the year, and then I'll decide, because I was thinking about it, and it's kind of like, do I prefer Goodreads, or am I just comfortable with Goodreads because I've been using it for over 10 years now?
Right.
And so that's what I would expect it to look like. And, so when you see something new, you're sort of like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah. Well, and I'm wondering if we can get our Goodreads imported, how much is that going to change our story graph?
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I might play around with that later.
Okay.
We'll
it's
see.
true, because our graphs are only for 1 year right now.
Yeah.
So we're literally only looking at a month at this point. I don't know, like, if you import the old ones, are you going to have a graph for each year? Like,
right.
And then an overall?
That'd be cool. We'd look really accomplished.
Wow. So much reading. Okay. So the other 2 I have for you guys, these are not tested, but I was looking around trying to see what stuff people really seem to be enjoying. And the 2 that were coming up the most, one is called Bookly and the other one is called Book Breeze. They seem to be pretty similar to each other. They're not popular enough yet where they have like a Wikipedia page, for instance. So like the information I could find on them was a little bit limited. And I will be 100% honest, I did not want to go putting like 10 apps on my phone just to see what they look like. So if you do want to check them, you can certainly test them out yourselves. But like the one, for instance, became really popular because of TikTok. And I think the purpose of both of these, from what I can tell, is that they're really about creating the habit of reading, which I was like, I really don't need to create more of a habit of reading.
Yeah.
I probably already have too much of a habit of reading. So, but they track things like, how many days in a row did you read? How many pages did you read? What's your reading pace? So you can actually track your reading in real time, which I think is kind of cool. And I don't know if you're like a parent with maybe a teenager, like maybe that would be a good thing to really keep up, the habit of reading with them. Like maybe something like that might work. But I thought they were both kind of interesting. In the pictures I was seeing, they look very clean. They look like they'd be pretty easy to use. So I don't know. So I was kind of interested in both of those, but I don't really need to create the habit. So I decided to kind of back off, but so that was Bookly and Book Breeze, but you can certainly Google. There are so many out there right now. I was a little shocked. Did you try out any other things, Sarah?
I did, actually. You had sent me something, and this was one of the things on it, and it's called Library Thing. Like all one word, but L and T are capitalized, but there's no space in between library and Library Thing. Well, it's hard to kind of,
I gotcha.
Anyways. It's giving very scholarly vibes, to be honest.
Okay.
So what attracted to me is because it's not just keeping track of books, but it also mentioned like movies and TV shows, I think. And one thing that I liked about it is there are, you can actually connect to your Twitter or your Facebook, so you can see if any of your friends are on there, which I don't have a single friend on there, which is fine. But it is checking across Amazon. It's checking across all these different, platforms basically to see. It's checking across Google to look for these books. So sometimes if you go on Goodreads, if you type in a book and all of a sudden you're like, how is this not here?
Right.
And you can't find it at all. But this one is going across a bunch more databases. So, but the look of it, I did download the app. I will say I don't like the app at all on my phone. It's giving that like, no offense library thing, but it's giving that like cheap version of the app,
Okay.
just enough to get on there kind of thing. And it's, to me, I'm like, I can't even find anywhere how to do things on here. But the website is also very confusing. So I was playing around with it this morning a lot and basically just put all of my stuff that I've read so far in 2024 in here. And it does have charts and graphs. It has recommendations, reviews, connections, galleries, messages, and your profile. But then it has so many tabs.
Yeah.
That I'm like, huh? And then if you want to add a book, and it doesn't have shelves like Goodreads does, it has tags.
Okay.
So you put different tags on it. So I put like a 2024 tag. But I am curious, and I'm not giving up on it yet. But it is giving a lot more. When you go on to review it, it almost sends it like you're in a, I don't know if you've ever been in a class, and the forum is discussion post.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it looks a lot like that. So I was like, I feel like I need to have like a master's degree a little bit to be working this. So
when you were showing it to me, when I was looking over your shoulder, it gave that look of almost like I own all these books at home and I want to create my own library so that if a friend borrows a book, I know who had, like, that was kind of the look of it to me. So I was almost wondering with the tags, if it's almost like I own these ones. This is my home library.
Yeah.
Here's my books. Here's my movies. But then maybe I just read this one, borrowed it from someone else, or I don't know.
So I'm not sure if I'll stick with it. Just because I feel like there's a lot of work that has to go into it. But what I do like is when you go to review it, if you want to share it on your Facebook or your Twitter, you can.
Automatically does that. That's cool.
So I think that's cool. But so far I'm like, not in. And like, even like, it was like add a profile picture, and I was like, cool. Yeah, let's do it. And then I did it on the app because all my pictures are on my phone, and I couldn't even find a spot where I could upload a profile picture.
Oh no.
And I was like, how is anyone going to know what my face looks like?
Yeah.
So, I'm going to give it a little bit of a chance. Don't know how long that'll last, but
Well, maybe you'll have to update us in a couple of months and let us know.
Yeah.
Maybe like we'll try to remember in like the April episode or something, and we'll just randomly ask you how it's going.
Okay, sounds good.
You know what you can do, Sarah, when all of this gets too overwhelming? You can stick with the classics.
Okay, what are those?
Journaling.
Ciao.
You can just write them in a notebook. We started that last year. Did you keep up your journal though?
No,
You did?
I think I stopped. I did make it like June or July.
Okay.
And part of it is because I don't know where I put my journal.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know where it's at.
So I did keep mine up.
Did you?
I did. So mine was originally, it is a composition notebook that I think at the end of the school year, one of the boys brought it back. They'd only used like 5 pages out of it. So we tore out those 5 pages. So it's like a used composition notebook.
Yeah.
And I just threw some stickers on it, and I, rewrote what it was for. And I think one of the reasons I enjoy it so much is when we do titles with tea, and I sit down with them and we all have our notebooks, and like, it's so fun to watch everybody open and see the different things that each person puts. Like, we have one person who really loves to put like quotes and things like that. We have another person who likes to put just a couple of sentences that remind them of what the book was about or why they loved it so much. And that's some of what they share with us.
That's so cool.
It is. It really is. And you can add whatever you want to it. That's what makes it fun. Like, you can do the obvious, like the title, the author, maybe when you read it, or if you do a star rating, what would your star rating be? But then you can also mark, like, is it a memoir? Was it an audiobook? Did I read it because of a book club, or did I read it for play? Like, you can pick and choose what you want in there. My composition notebook, I did keep it up all of last year. I am continuing it this year, but I do think I need to transfer it into a actual notebook because the pages are falling out. So I'm like, it's not the end of the world. Like, if I do it now, it's only like a few pages that I have to like transfer so that I can still have from when I actually started it, and then all my new stuff. And I did find a notebook that I can use. It's going to take me, I just need a day where I can sit down and actually rewrite stuff, but it'll be fine.
Now, I will say that when I do find it, I will, because I can go back from my Goodreads. I can go
Yeah.
on there and see when I read things. So eventually, when I do find the notebook, because I'm OCD when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like, I can't just start on the new year. No, I have to go back and
Right.
put down the 6 books or 6 months worth of books
Yeah.
back on that list. So
Well, and I did notice like there is something a little more personable about being like, here's my notebook, you can look at what I've read, versus like, let me open my app and hand you my phone and you can just scroll through my Goodreads, or find me as a friend and then like you can look at it in your own time and we never actually talk about it. So
right.
having that physical notebook that you can actually hand to somebody if you want to is kind of nice too. So I don't know, it's sort of fun. The other one I have to recommend, I've considered doing this for myself. There's a few podcasts that I listen to where I know they do it. I've never actually sat down to truly start one. But do you know anyone who does a Google Doc?
To track their books now.
Yeah. And the reason I would suggest this one for somebody, if you enjoy sitting down at the computer and you're good with that kind of stuff, this might be really fun for you. Same as journaling, you can put as much or as little information in your Google Doc as you want to. But the nice thing with this one is you can literally share it with any bookish friends and family that you want to. So if you have family that's maybe in another state and you guys are trying to like share book suggestions with each other, like how easy is it just to give them access to your Google Doc? Like it doesn't get any easier than that. And it's also, it's private. Like we might enjoy Goodreads and Storygraph, but like it is technically social media. Like it's still out there. People can still read your stuff. They can comment on it, but your Google Doc, you have control over who you share that with.
Yeah.
And so it's totally up to you how public or private you want to make that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I definitely would suggest a Google Doc if that's maybe your thing. So, so Sarah, did you have any other ones before I move on?
No.
Okay. I know this is already probably like over 30 something minutes here, so we don't want to keep you guys too long, but we would like to take a quick second to just give a shout out to social media. So a couple years ago, Sarah was very patient and kind with me, and she taught me how to use Instagram.
I forgot about that.
So thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome.
I'm not the greatest, but I can do it.
She crushes it.
I do admit that I enjoy it at times. But what I really love is that you can literally curate it to whatever you want. So it's like sometimes, when I'm deep into a Dancing with the Stars season, I follow all the people, and then all of a sudden, like when the season's over and I like unfollow people,
Same.
So I go in waves.
Mm-hmm.
But like you can really curate it to books, right? If you choose to, you can do that. So I do tend to follow authors sometimes when I'm reading their books. There's some authors that will stay on there forever. Other ones maybe will kind of drop off at some point. But there's some great book related Instagrams as well. And so I will say I've been checking out the Storygraphs Instagram ever since we started with that, because like I said, I wanted to find out what was going on at the beginning of the year when all that stuff was happening. And I've stuck with them, and they offer like some cool templates that people use to like how many pages I've read each day, like those kind of fun things. And so while it is social media, it's actually interactive, and you have an option to use some of their stuff on your page.
Yeah.
So, and I know you introduced me to probably our favorite one. So do you want to say which one that is?
Oh gosh, yes, but you might have to remind me of the name. I know it's Kells dot. Is it books?
Yes.
Okay, Kells. So KELLS dot books.
Yes.
So
exactly.
I do love her stuff.
Yeah.
I just thought of the story you told me the other day. But that's where I do my reading trackers. So like my Instagram stories per month, I do it. Bethany does it, and that's a lot of times where I get my reading trackers. So I enjoy those.
Yeah,
so.
They're really fun. I mean, the book community is just so welcoming.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what you read. Like I know you guys have heard us joke about books that we maybe love or don't love. Twilight. But I still love, even if that's your book, like the fact that you're reading, that's what I love. I don't really care what you're reading.
I know, but I love teasing you with it.
And I love teasing you. And that's why this works. So if you guys have any favorites from the Instagram community, especially, please feel free to share those with us. Sarah and I are always looking for new fun ones to check out.
Yeah.
There's really some great stuff out there though. And Instagram, or as a lot of people do, Bookstagram, has just become such a fun place to be.
And book talk on TikTok.
Oh, is that where the cool kids are?
Yeah.
Okay. But see, a lot of them post to Instagram as well, and I think that's where I see them.
Instagram Reels, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So, which is very nice.
Yeah. This was really fun. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sarah, my last big question for you.
What's up?
What are you reading now?
What am I reading? A book. Just kidding. So I am currently reading The Inmate by Freida McFadden.
Okay.
And she's the same person that wrote the Housemaid and the Housemaid's Secret. And
That's why I know the name. Okay.
And I loved both of those a lot. So now I'm kind of trying to get into some of her other books.
Nice.
So I'm currently reading that one. I'm about halfway through it. Okay. We're in there.
I like it. I like that you're in there.
Yeah, we're in there. You know, I have questions for the main character. But
is it still
we beefing? Maybe a little bit.
Okay, and by the way you're saying this and the look on your face, I'm assuming it's similar, like a thriller, like she does mystery thrillers, like
she's very mystery thriller, which I do love, and I know you love. So we're having a good time. Okay. But I do have questions, and I'm wondering if they're going to be answered. So we'll see.
I hope you get your answers.
Thank you. Me too. I hope I get them answered in the way that I want them to be answered.
I will be curious to find out if you solve the mystery before it's revealed.
Okay.
So you have to let me know.
All right, will do. All right, what are you reading?
I am reading The Lady from the Black Lagoon by Mallory O'Meara. It's very interesting. So Mallory O'Meara is actually one of the co-hosts of a podcast that I listen to, and that's how I learned about the book. Okay. And the book is actually about Millicent Patrick, who is the artist that was behind the Creature from the Black Lagoon. So that classic movie, which I just got the movie as well. So we are going to rewatch it because I actually don't know if I've ever seen it all the way through.
Yeah, I've definitely never seen it.
Yeah, so I'm very excited to watch the movie maybe this weekend if I'm lucky. So we'll see if that works out for me. But so it's a lot about finding out about Millicent because there's not a ton known about her life, but it also is reading as part memoir of the author. So even though I feel like I kind of already know Mallory from listening to the podcast, like I've learned a lot about her and how she came to be, the job and the produce, all that kind of stuff that she has moved into in her life. So it's kind of interesting to see how she ended up there. And there's actually some interesting parallels between their lives too, which I think is kind of neat. So there were a few reviews that were like, I don't know why she inserted herself in the story. And it's like, but as I'm reading it, it makes sense to me because part of the story is her trying to learn. So all the different places and the people that she's talking to try and learn more. Because there's no gravestone. Has she even passed away yet? I don't know. So you're following Mallory on this like real life mystery of her trying to figure out. And the whole thing kind of started, I think I showed you the book cover, right?
Yes.
It's a beautiful book cover. And so as I started the book, I was like, wait a minute. I literally looked her up and I was Googling and I was zooming in on the photo. It's her tattoo. So she actually has a tattoo on her arm that is Millicent Patrick with the creature, like I'm doing the hand motions. You guys can't see this,
cool. I can,
but the creature coming around the head of the artist. And so it's amazing. I'm like, this is so cool. So it's kind of this whole real life moment. So it makes sense to me that Mallory's story is part of the story.
Well, and also she's the author of the book, so she can, do whatever she wants.
Yeah. So. Well, and I think that's what might be confusing for some people, but to each their own. I'm enjoying it, and that's all that matters because I'm the reader.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, all right. This was a super good time, and I really appreciate it. And Sarah, where can they find us?
They can find us they can contact us at themulberrylibrary@gmail.com or Instagram or Facebook, however, or if you want to come into the library and visit us, that too, It's good. Cool. It's a good time.
Love that. Thank you guys so much. Happy reading, Mulberry.